Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mrs. Bundy here. I'd like to talk to you this afternoon about a new art project which I'd really love if you could get involved with. So, for the first period of the lockdown, obviously, we really focused on rainbows, and they're a national, international symbol, aren't they, of this time where actually the NHS are doing so much for us. And whenever I see a rainbow out in somebody's window, it gives me a nice warm feeling, and it helps me to feel like, we're all part of a community. Sort of, we all might be behind our closed doors most of the time, but we're all feeling the same, and we're all sort of supportive of each other. Now, the rainbows are amazing, and by all means, if you want to carry on doing some more rainbows to sort of put up in your windows or to bring into school when we go back to school, then by all means do. But I thought as we go into this next stage of our lockdown, then maybe we could do some different type of art, which I've decided, if you'd like to get involved, can be based on butterflies. Now, the same as when I see a rainbow, I get a similar feeling actually when I see a butterfly, whether it might be sort of fluttering around me or I see it in the distance, a little flash of colour. And they always really cheer me up. Butterflies, again, are a symbol of hope. They're a symbol used in Christianity. They are obviously about this time of year, symbolising, sort of spring and new life. And they also represent endurance, so that kind of idea of sort of keeping going and staying determined and having strength. So that's why I thought, well, butterflies would be a great one to do. Now, what would be fabulous is if you could do some of your own butterflies, which you could display in your windows as well. And then when we go back to school, keep them for me and then bring them in, and we could have an amazing butterfly display in school of all the butterflies that you've produced. So it would be great if they were colourful because, they're nice and bright and cheerful. But how you produce them really is up to you. But I thought I'd give you a few ideas of things that you could do. And I've tried to base it on things that you might have at home already. Now, lots of you might have paints, which is great if you do, but if you don't, there's lots of other things that you can use as well. So, assuming you're going to get on board with me and produce some of your own butterflies, I've got some ideas for you. Now, of course, you can look for designs of different types of butterflies on the internet. You can look at the monarch butterflies, morph butterflies. There's all different sorts of types, or it can be your own representation, your own drawing of a butterfly. And again, there's lots of videos on YouTube of how to draw a butterfly, and it can be as simple or as detailed as you want. There aren't any rules. And when I was thinking about butterflies, I actually went around my house and I've found actually I've got quite a few little things that I've got butterflies on already, which I could use to inspire me. I'm also looking at planning some English for later on in the year. So I happen to have this book at home as well, The Wonder Garden, and this has got the most beautiful butterflies, very ornate, these patterns in. But when I look at them all, actually, it amused me because they're quite similar in style. Right. Okay. So, first of all, I drew myself a butterfly template, which I could use. And I did a few of these. So I drew one and then I kind of sort of traced it over the top to draw some more. So I had quite a few of the same template, but you could download a design, or again, you could try and draw one from scratch yourself. It's up to you. And there's lots of different ways that you can create one. So if you're in 5-6, you'll know that I absolutely love collage. So I had a go at collaging with scraps of paper and things that I could find around the house. Now, it's not completely finished, but I'll show you here one that I have done. And try and line it up, there we go. And you can tell, because I haven't finished yet, but you can tell that as I've kind of cut those strips, I've tried to get them into that sort of butterfly wing shape. Then I thought, oh, what else can I use to make it look a bit more interesting? So you might spot in the middle, I've got a bit of a cream egg wrapper there going on, and I've sort of linked in the purple over here. This side here, yeah. This was a sort of orange page that I found in just a magazine, and then I've tried to sort of connect it all a little bit so it doesn't look too sort of random and messy, so it looks like I've actually given it some thought. So I've connected it here with some of the little roses that I've found on a card, and when I finish, I've got a little rose here, and I'll just match that up so it doesn't look like I've just thrown it all together. So for here, I'm going to have that kind of common rose flower theme, and maybe I might put some up there or something else that kind of matches and shows that actually I know that butterflies have symmetry. Okay, so that's one way you can do it. Now, with collaging, when you've got the lines that you need to keep into, you can collage and make sure the bits that you cut out actually fit in, or it doesn't matter if you go over the top a little bit and you can sort of follow your line round so that when you cut it out, you've got that right shape. And look, I went over the top a little bit, so I've got that left on the paper just to sort of match it up. And if it's not exactly symmetrical each side, then that doesn't really matter. Okay, so that's my collaging method. Something Mrs. Marsh suggested to me. She said, oh, when we were in school last week, she likes it when you actually apply the papers behind. So she drew an outline for me while I was doing another one. And I've brought this home and I've started to look at different papers that I can back behind. Now you can tell there that I'm going for the sort of orange and yellow and purple type of colours. So they're the colours I'm going to stick to. I'm not going to have every single colour in this one. I think I'm just going to stick to those sort of key colours. And then on the back you can see how I have just sort of stuck it over. It's a bit messy on the back, but it doesn't really matter. And I found I ran out of glue as well, so I've just sort of taped it on the back. This little yellow bit down here, well, this is a dishcloth that I've used. Obviously make sure you check with your adults before you start using things. And I was lucky enough to have some pipe cleaners at home, which I could sort of attach on top. Again, I stuck it at the back. And yeah, so I'm linking my colours in for this one, and a nice way to do it really is just to sort of get some, oh, it's opened on a nice page. So I could cut out that little piece maybe of the pineapple and link it behind. Something else that I might like to find, I don't know if I've got any purples in here. Maybe I could use some of that cream egg paper that I've got left over. Okay, so that's another way you can do it, where you draw your outline first, or I'm sure there'll be one that you can print off of the internet again, and then you just cut out the shapes and fill them from behind. And this is different types of paper, and then I've sort of had a go at sort of nail polishing over the top. Again, check with your parents before you get all the nail polishes out the cupboard. Okay, so that's another way you could do it. Good old pastels. I started sort of doing some pastels. That's quite a large space, so it's going to take me quite a while to do that one. And then we've got, yeah, I'm just getting asked if my son can have a little egg. Yes, he can, because actually I want the wrapper. There you go. Right, there we go. Right, Blake. If you are lucky enough to have watercolour, then you can obviously create your own papers. I love creating my own papers. Putting some water on and then putting your paints on, and then there's kind of good old-fashioned way, isn't there, of putting that together and then sort of seeing what you come up with. And then you could draw half of your butterfly on the back, and then sort of double your page over, cut it out from there. Do it as quick as I can just to show you. I remember doing this when I was at school, actually. And then we've got a beautiful butterfly shape. And then obviously you can add to that as well, can't you? Put other papers over the top. You might want to add in a little bit of detail yourself. What colours have we got in here? Okay, so we've got some purple. You might want to look through a magazine that you might have and add something else to it, maybe sort of in the tops of the wings, or some circles that you might cut out and put on the bottom. So that's another way that you can do it. And then when it was nice and sunny last week and I was sat out in the garden, and Blake, what were you painting when we were out in the garden? Remember Blake was painting a pineapple, and I decided to paint a butterfly. So on this one I have tried to get the symmetry in, and I have tried to make sure that I've got the same parts of the wing detailed the same each side, and it's quite nice because I could put this up on the window and it's not flat, so it looks like it's got a bit of movement to it. Again, you don't have to do your butterfly sort of front on. You could have your butterfly, nice book here, you could have it so that it's side on. Maybe you've just got one wing showing or part of the wing behind. Okay. Also, I thought I was doing some sort of drawing and doodling. I think one time I was on the phone, and then I was waiting for the dinner to cook, and then I was sat in the garden for a bit. So I was looking at patterns around the kitchen and out in the environment. I don't know, I found some patterns from a radiator and patterns from leaves and things like that. So I kind of did my own doodling. And then I thought, what can I use that for? I don't want to waste it. So again, that might be something that I could have a doodled butterfly. So I'm going to put my template there over the top of that. Okay, and then I'm going to cut out part of my doodling paper to go over the top. Blake's just coming to have a look, can't you, Blake? Okay. Now, just very quickly, I'll just cut this out just to show you. Okay, so I've created my own paper, and then I could sort of stick that on like that, couldn't I? And I could maybe complete a whole butterfly like that, or I could have the two bottom wings like that, or opposite wings like that. It's really up to me, isn't it? I'll show you that a bit closer up, and you can see lots of patterns in there that I've created. And I've tried to sort of, if I've got some blue over here, I've got some blue over here. But it's just a nice, relaxing, calming activity. And it's a good way to spend a bit of time, really. Okay, so I think that's my sort of butterfly tutorial over with. I really hope that you'll get involved. And if you do your butterflies, put them up in the window. I'm in school next week, so I will be driving to Botley and passing some windows. So it would make me really pleased if I could see some of those on display. And then, like I've said, keep them. Or get your parents to send in a copy of them, and when we're back at school we can have a wonderful display of lots of different types of butterflies. Okay, right, well, thanks for bearing with me. If you've got this far and listened this long, then I really appreciate it, and I really look forward to seeing your wonderful creations. Okay, just be as creative as you can. I didn't actually make any that were sort of 3D. I mean, they had 3D elements on them, some of them. But again, if you wanted to make a paper mache butterfly, there's all sorts of things that you could do with materials, depending on what you've got at home. I've just kind of used the bits and bobs that I could find. But I really look forward to seeing what you can produce. Okay, all right, thank you, and stay safe. Lots of love. Bye.